right, here we're back for episode 2.
We're going again, baby.
What we're gonna now be calling Cruising.
Check that out. We have a name.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing.
Hopefully someone doesn't come knocking on our door.
We're back here in Mexico, driving through our college campus. Ah, yes. Let's just back out into the middle of the road. Anyway, today, we're going to be talking about the Queens of the Stone Age album. The new one.
Called Villains.
It's called Villains, yeah.
This one's a little bit, this one's gonna be a little bit different because this one has come out about a month ago. By now, we both had quite a bit of time to listen through it and shape our opinions.
It was one of those things that we kind of felt like we needed to review in terms of sort of the rock genre.
Right.
I think that this band is they're a kingpin. So
yeah, and especially since we compared this one to Concrete and Gold from last time.
Yeah.
I felt it necessary just to, make this one the next one.
I would agree. All right. Well.
So yeah, just a rehash. Going to take you through initial reactions, track by track, and then how it compares to their other discography, and then just some final thoughts, and that'll be that.
Yeah, definitely. You want to go ahead and tell the pretty people what you thought about the album on your first couple listens?
I mean, I loved it. The first, I don't know, I'm dipping into track by track already, but that first track just hits you and you're already invested in it. It's just a lot of the albums either goes back and forth between funky and artsy, and it's just this really cool blend that has just been the Queens of the Stone Age sound since they started, or even more just Josh Homme's sound from his other band Kios or Eagles of Death Metal, just some of his other projects that he's worked on. But yeah, I love every single song on this album. There's not really one that I would maybe choose over the other. This one, I don't know if I could pick a top 3 even.
Well, it's such a short album.
It is, and I'm glad.
It feels short too, even though there's a few songs. I think there's 3 or 4 songs that are 6 minutes long. This is not a long listen.
No, it's just, with only 9 tracks. I feel like I like that it's 9 tracks. I like that it's shorter. It means each one. There might even be some B-side tracks that didn't make it to this one, and I like that Josh Homme was able to, put a lot more time and effort to making 9 really great songs versus making his ideas happen and just throwing them onto a CD.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really do enjoy this album. This one's a good one that I can just listen top to bottom very, very easily and multiple times, just over and over.
I'll say this. I like this album too, but I don't think this album is as good as Like Clockwork. If we're talking about recent releases from Queens of the Stone Age, I feel like I've had enough time to sit with this one now to make a definitive statement on that. I like that album better, but I do think I do have to commend them for what they've done here, and you and I have already talked about this briefly before this, and this, that you're listening to a Queens of the Stone Age album, but it's not a rehash of something else that they've done. This is something new entirely. You're aware that you're listening to the band, but this does not sound like their other work necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is something new for them. It blends some of the stuff that we've seen them doing before. There's still plenty of cool, sort of weird out there guitar playing. There's a bunch of other elements that sort of make appearances here that we haven't really seen. The second half of Feet Don't Fail Me, when we got to that, I was like, oh wow, we're doing something different here. I mean, sort of right off the bat, he lets you know that he's going to be making some different choices stylistically.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's a good thing. It keeps them fresh, but these songs will still easily fit into their live show. There's really nothing on this album that won't fit into the live show. So, I mean, yeah, I'm definitely with you. I like this album.
Mm-hmm.
I just like Like Clockwork better.
Okay.
And I don't necessarily, maybe that'll change over time, but just as I'm sitting right now, I
Come
just
on,
think
don't text.
that, yeah, oh my
Don't
God.
text and drive, folks.
Yeah, really.
It pisses everyone off, and you also risk your own life.
Yep, not worth it.
But most importantly, you make me mad. So.
But yeah, this is good stuff. This is good stuff. It's nice to see, Josh Homme has been around forever, and it's cool to see that he's still sort of kicking ass and making an album like this.
Yeah. Honestly, like,
2017.
it's a little bit, I always felt like Queens of the Stone Age deserved just as much recognition as like the Foo Fighters does, and like what got the Foo Fighters to where they are is like, and I know Dave hates this, but like because Dave was in Nirvana, and Nirvana already had such a huge following, and so they kept on with that. But Josh and his bands and his stuff, like, I feel like there's just as much in his music that people like in Foo Fighters that that he has, and I feel like, I don't know, they should maybe be on the same level rather than, I guess more in terms of like in the spotlight. Like people who know about both bands can agree that they're both bands are fantastic, but I think to like the more like wider audience, I think like even if you don't listen to Foo Fighters, people know who Foo Fighters and Dave Grohl are, whereas you can't really say the same for Josh Homme and Queens of the Stone Age.
I think you make a really interesting point, and I would also like to point out that I don't think there have been lulls in Dave's career if you look back at what he's done, and you could argue there are a few Foo Fighters albums that are just not very good.
Mm-hmm.
I can't point to a single thing from Josh that I've listened to that I didn't think was like really solid. I just think he's across the board, he's just made so many good things. And one thing about him, and I know we sort of touched on this when we were talking about the Foo Fighters album last week, was Dave Grohl, he likes to take the safe route a lot more than Josh Homme does. They're not good for the same reasons.
Yeah.
Even on this album, this thing is wildly creative for something that's probably going to sell hundreds of thousands of copies.
Yeah.
And for being a rock record, I just have to say, for them being on the level that they are at this point with the number of fans that they have, and making a record like this, or I mean, you can point pretty much anywhere in their discography. It's just
because that kind of goes
creative force.
That kind of moves towards like what I really like about Queens of the Stone Age with their discography. Like every single album has been like very different from each other, but there's like this one sound that they have that kind of keeps them connected.
Yep.
And it's just this really cool like progression from like Josh having like these crazy new ideas and incorporating them while also maintaining like the same kind of like I want to say like almost like a haunting kind of creepy sound in all of his stuff. You notice like there's something like that makes you a little bit uneasy, but you like it. There's just something around about that sound is like really cool and really unique to Josh Homme and just all the stuff that he does.
I really feel like he's a product of his environment too, because if you watch interviews with him and he talks about being from the desert basically.
Yeah.
I think that it influences everything he does. Weirdly. And it's interesting. It's real interesting.
So he was just kind of born into that genre of the desert rock kind of music.
He's got that sort of the stylistic choices he makes are very, I think that they're a product of his environment. And that's cool.
Yeah.
He's really cool. And he's been very unrelenting too in terms of there's never been a time where I've said to myself, oh man, they're really going to sell out. Like you hear a single or you hear a record and you're like, man, this, like, you cannot accuse them of that. They might be on a major label, they might sell out tours, they might have a ton of fans, but I don't think that I've said to myself at any point, wow, these guys are being disingenuous to the thing they've created here.
Definitely,
And that just goes for his bands in general.
Yeah, because Josh has always been very unapologetic about the crazy stuff that he does.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
and that often, I mean,
he's not trying to be
granted
family friendly.
Yeah, granted, it often works in his favor just because that's what his audience already listens to. But even to like some fresh listeners, there's something like cool that like might grab their attention, or something different that might grab their attention that he puts on there. That because I remember I showed someone Queens of the Stone Age after them telling me like how much of a Foo Fighters fan they were. I was like, okay, well this can really fit into the genre. I showed them Songs for the Deaf, and they loved it. They loved it. Like, it's definitely not like, I wouldn't say it's like the same speed as Foo Fighters necessarily, but like there's something similar that links them together. And if you like Foo Fighters, you will like Queens of the Stone Age.
I think that the common thread there is they both are torchbearers for sort of the classic like 70s and 80s rock and roll sound.
Yeah.
That but they're both responsible for sort of fresh takes on it.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the tracks?
Yeah, let's on to track by track. So we're gonna start with Feet Don't Fail Me, or I almost just says Feet Don't Fail Me Now because that's the
refrain.
But
Yep.
Yeah, I like this song. It's got that like, and it even starts with that creepy kind of like haunting kind of sound at the very beginning.
Yep.
And then it warms up. Like, I don't know. There's something about that I just really love about like Queens of the Stone Age, and they've been doing this forever now. And it's just really cool. So it warms up to it, and then it just hits you in the face with like this like groove that is just like, you know, something that you can like strut to. And
yeah.
I'm probably gonna repeat this for like every single track, but like Josh's like lyrical like writing is just through the roof. It's phenomenal.
It is very good.
You know, and
I gotta agree with
each
you.
time I listen to it over and over again, I find there's another like really cool, clever line that he's put in there. The one that like keeps getting to me is like, life is hard, that's why no one survives. Because usually everyone else is like, life is hard, you can get over it, and Josh is like, nah, man, like it's hard.
I like this song too. It's a real good intro to the album, and it goes back to what we were saying in sort of the overview, where I definitely feel like when I'm listening to this song, I'm listening to the band, but I'm not necessarily listening to
Josh,
their record, like their previous records rather. This feels different enough where I'm just kind of like, oh, this is, you know, something new. We're getting something that we recognize, but it's not exactly what we know from them. I feel like this is a good blend because I feel like the first half of the song is a sort of straightforward Queens of the Stone Age song, but then they get to that sort of break in the song, and it's just, you know, it's something different. It's not something that we've necessarily seen from them. And I like that.
Yeah.
I think that it's good. All right, so The Way You Used to Do. I like this one. Weirdly, I think you might disagree with me, but I think this is one of the weaker songs on the album.
That seems to be like, from what I've been reading, a lot of people would probably agree with you.
Yeah.
But probably for the different reasons. Some people are saying it's poppy and stuff like that. I wouldn't say it's poppy,
it's a little bit
like,
jaunty for them, and I don't mean that in a mean way, but I was like, what is this? Like, this is like the refrain is very like, you could like snap your fingers to it a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a bad thing, but I wasn't expecting it, and
Right.
and it feels a bit out of place here. It's not necessarily I don't know. I don't think it's a bad song. I like it. I'm sure they're gonna play it live and it's gonna be a smash.
Oh,
but
definitely. I think they've already played it on some like show, like talk shows and stuff.
I'm sure. I mean, this one feels like it's, you know, ready for that sort of thing.
Interestingly enough, this is I think that was the first single that they released.
Yeah.
Before the album came out. So that was the first one I heard, and so I was kind of expecting like, you know,
something poppier.
Most of the album to be like that, something like swingy, groovy, you know, and I got that from Feet Don't Fail Me Now still.
Yeah.
And so that's like, kind of why I like it a lot. I like it a lot for the same reasons I like the Feet Don't Fail Me Now, and I think like the transition between the two songs is pretty good as well. Yeah, I mean, this is another one I can just kind of like strut down the street to, walk to class to.
Yeah.
It's, I dig this song.
It's not a bad song,
Yeah.
but it doesn't fit the album.
And you know what? Thinking about it, like, I would have to agree, like, begrudgingly, just because I still like how it fits into the rest of the album,
Uh-huh.
still. But I think it is like still somewhat out of place.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure. This would have sounded. Let's see. What's the album that I'm thinking for? I think that this would have fit on Lullabies to Paralyze. I don't know if you've really listened to that
Yeah.
album too much, but
I like that one a lot. I actually started listening to that one a lot because I liked Everyone Knows That.
yeah, it's a good one. I think that this song would fit on something more like that, where there's more, it's more radio friendly. That album is.
Yeah.
It's a good album. It's just my opinion though.
I might even say I
Like
might
that
even
era.
put on Era Vulgaris. If
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest.
or Era Vulgaris, one of those two. They both just sort of have some less dark elements.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
you know what? That might be like one of the things that he did. Maybe he did include that for like those reasons, like to increase the because like Josh loves making you like as a listener a little bit uneasy, and so like
Right.
taking you out of it and then throwing you back in with the next song.
right.
That's entirely possible that he considered that, and that's why he put the song on there.
It's an interesting point, and I think that there's probably some validity to what you're saying.
Yeah.
Domesticated Animals, I like this song. This
Yeah.
is a good song.
Oh
This
yeah,
is a
and
good
like
song.
this
and
is
it goes back to being a bit darker too.
yeah, and this is one of those like lyrically strong ones too. I think
Mhm.
as like compared to the rest of the songs, I think this is one of the stronger ones lyrically.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, all of them are pretty powerful just because Josh Homme is like an artist that way.
Yeah.
Um,
Sure.
yeah, I really like this one. I like that, like the sound at the beginning and the sound at the end that leads into the next one.
Yeah.
That's another thing that like I'll just get out of the way now so I don't repeat it myself over and over again. I like how every song flows into each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good feeling. Yeah, and so yeah, I really like this song. Like the guitar parts are really interesting and unique,
Mm-hmm.
certainly.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah, and I just like it's that kind of like darker elements tone with like song wise and tone wise.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that it's yeah, I like how dark this song is. I like the way that it fits into the album. For me, this song sort of represents getting back on track. I almost feel like if The Way You Used to Do was at a different spot in the track list, I might feel different about it. I feel like Feet Don't Fail Me and Domesticated Animals sort of might have worked pretty good back to back, in my opinion.
I might try that. I might go onto iTunes or something like that and like queue those up one after another, see how those two flow together.
I just think that it would be kind of. I feel like they share a common thread. The Way You Used to Do almost breaks them up a little bit, I don't know. I like this. I like it. It's really good. It's a good song. I think it's a good representation of what makes this album different from sort of what they've done in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I think Domesticated Animals, and then the next song as well, Fortress. I feel that both of them are good representations of like what this album sounds like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because there does seem to be some kind of like theme of we're not in control.
Yes.
Almost.
Yeah, he's really sort of, I don't want to say braying on that, but he really, yeah, you're right.
That definitely does
You're right.
seems to be like a theme with the album, like lyric wise. There's not really like, it's not like I can recite all the lyrics to you, but there are some lines, a lot of them that just kind of point to like, we're out of control. Do the best you can with what you know.
With what you have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would agree.
Some sort of like darker way of saying that.
I'd agree.
All right, so moving on.
Yeah, Fortress is what we've got next.
Okay, that one I think might be my favorite.
Yeah. It's a good one.
It's you know, again with the haunting tones, and it's just got this really cool theme. It's got a little bit more of a positive spin to it, you know, and you know, whenever your fortress caves, you're always safe in mine.
Yeah. It's almost a love song.
Yeah.
We haven't heard one of those from him in a while.
Yeah, not since.
God, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure I can even point to something that's this straightforward, in terms of him writing a love song.
Yeah.
Anywhere in their discography, so it almost just marks something a little different for him, from a writing perspective.
Yeah.
And I like it. You know, I think it's a great song. I know I keep saying I like it, but I like all of these. It's a solid song. Yeah, good, really good stuff.
And like the lead guitar tone that kind of goes through the refrain, kind of like I don't want to say like, for lack of a better word, like it's almost like a wiry kind of synthetic kind of sound, which is really cool. But I'm willing to bet it was on his guitar.
For sure.
It just has this.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah, it just has this really like odd, strange like discord to the tone that just like makes it sound really cool. And it's like, of the slower songs on the album, this one's definitely my favorite.
Yeah, I like this one a lot. Yeah, I think that this is an interesting take on a love song, but I wouldn't expect anything less from him. Next we've got Head Like a Haunted House. This might be my favorite. I really like the last two songs on the album, but I like this one a lot.
Right.
It's just a cool song. I mean, what else can you really say about it other than it's sort of, you know.
Right.
It just brings the intensity. It sort of brings like this
swagger,
like, riff-laden thing.
Yeah, and especially coming right out of like the slow, relaxing, calm kind of Fortress song, and then this one just like slaps you in the face and like kicks it back in. It's like, hey, this is where we're at.
Yeah, I see this one being another single I mean this one just brings so much energy to the middle of this track list, because with only 9 songs, you know, we're pretty much living in the middle here, and yeah, man, I love this song. It's so good.
Yeah,
I don't see this one being taken out of rotation
like,
for a
and
while.
one of my favorite parts was like the like he had like those backing tracks, like the high pitched singers.
Yeah, actually sounded really cool.
It was weird. It was weird, and I loved it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, exactly. I mean, you can sum up like my reaction to like all their discography. Like, it's weird, and I love it. You know.
Yeah.
Something
no,
like,
totally.
Like, I don't want to say avant-garde, because I don't think it's like that deep into it, but like it's definitely like on some capacity.
It definitely brings that sort of intensity, I would agree. And yeah, I like this song a lot. This song is just a quality song. I would turn left at this light.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I really like Head Like a Haunted House. It's super cool. It's real creepy. I'm into it.
And I feel like, you know, Josh is the only one with that kind of voice to that can really like make it that way too. You know, it's.
I agree.
There's something like really unique about his voice as well. That's just kind of like he can hit like all sorts of like tones.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, let's go this way. You said. It's construction.
That's
here.
a good idea.
Come on, man. All right.
I wonder what they're working on. Oh, I guess they're finishing that.
Anyways,
yeah, I don't know.
What's up next?
Next, we've got Unreborn Again.
This is a cool one. I'm not like, as much as I like the song. It's definitely got another one of those like creepy ones. Is this the one that starts with like that steamy, like industrial kind of sounding, or is that the next one? I'm failing to.
I'm also failing to remember. I thought this song was good, but again, maybe not in the right spot on the track listing. Maybe that's just me.
Here's the thing. I like both halves.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I could say they belong together.
Yeah, that too.
I guess in a way, like I don't.
That too.
But at the same time, like it's kind of cool in the way that like you don't know, it's hard to place like when it actually like escalate or changes and escalates to when it does.
Uh-huh.
It's like the weird like he combines like the intensity of like some parts of the album with the calmer parts of the other album. That's my low fuel level, ladies and gentlemen.
I'd go left here as well, actually.
Okay.
Let's do that. Yeah. Yeah. No, I like this. I like it. I agree with you saying that the two parts kind of don't necessarily match up. That's one thing just across the board on this album. I'll just take this chance to say, I do think there are some times where there's just so much going on that it might be a little too much. And I do think that this song is kind of one of them. I think it's a good song.
Yeah,
but,
or at least like if you're gonna have a lot going on, I wouldn't make it in like the middle of the.
Album. Either make it an opener or a closer. Your album's not really long enough, in my opinion, and that's, I think that just speaks to personal taste more than like anything on our part.
Because there is a lot of stuff in like the last two tracks, like The Evil Has Landed and Villains of Circumstance. But I like that for those reasons. So like, it just, I guess, depends on like placement and personal preference.
I would agree. All right, next we've got Hideaway.
Hideaway?
Yeah.
I like this one, but it also feels like Unreborn Again back to back, or like it.
See, these two were the most forgettable for me. I felt like the way you used to do was not necessarily something that fit on the album, but I liked the song. These were the two that I was like, I could kind of leave these and probably be fine with it.
Right. There's something else that I gotta take into consideration. Like when you're listening to an album from top to bottom, you find like. When you make a habit of listening to them top to bottom, they all start to blend, like towards the later half, it all starts to blend together, and you're not paying attention to like which song is which. Like, and it doesn't help that the album flows together so well. Like this one goes straight into Hideaway.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, Unreborn Again goes straight into Hideaway, and
right.
Yeah, and so it's a bit like, and unfortunately, like. It's a bit unavoidable on most albums from bands. It's just like there's going to be a point where you're kind of like, it becomes background a little bit, because like so much of the stuff that gets your attention that makes you want to listen to it is at the beginning or at the end. Yeah. And then there's just that weird middle part that you're trying to like navigate
a little bit. And
yeah,
I think that so Hideaway, I mean,
it's a good song.
It's a good song. It's not the best song on the album. It does sort of have that lull to it.
And I don't think I would even take it off either.
No, I wouldn't either. It's not, because it's not a bad song. It fits fine. It fits fine with what they're doing here. Watch out for this guy. He's not paying attention at all. Yeah. And my dude, there's a sidewalk on the other side of the street, and he's just walking in the road. Nice.
Good old locals. All right, do you think I should turn right up here, or do we want to stay off campus a little bit more?
Yeah, just I would go straight.
Okay.
I would go straight.
Okay.
Just because it's busy right now.
So yeah, I'm sorry we don't have much to say about Hideaway, but I guess there's not much to it, or like it's just one of those tracks that like.
I just think it speaks more to a bigger issue with bands in general, that there's always going to be filler tracks, it feels like, and this one, while I wouldn't take it away, I mean, it's a filler track.
I think with that in mind, I think I'm going to start going a little bit easier on Dave and the Foo Fighters. Just because, like, like, there are some stuff that you just put in there to fill it, but, like, again, like we said, like, last week, it's just something that, it's still okay to cut some songs.
Right.
That being said, going off topic a little bit here, I am warming up to Dirty Water.
Yeah.
A lot, actually. I still don't like Make It Right. But, yeah, anyways. Dirty Water has I like that one now. Anyways,
when we're not listening to this album, I pretty much only exclusively listen to Fish, so I'll be honest with you, I haven't gone back. That's pretty much it for me. I'm kind of a total fanatic. Yeah. So now we're sort of to the last two songs of the album, and man, both of these songs are so good.
Yeah.
I just gotta say, like, they're so good. Like, The Evil Has Landed and Villains of Circumstance, it's really just a 1-2 punch that just leaves the best taste in your mouth with this album. And honestly, I remember I'm just going to talk about these two as one because
Okay.
I feel like there are some points to make about them individually, but I felt in a larger way, I felt a certain way about both of them. And I remember when Villains of Circumstance came on, I really liked that Evil Has Landed. I was like, this is awesome. This is just, something that really goes with, with sort of the sound that I feel like Josh was going for on this album. And I think that this song, I think that the Evil Has Landed, it's nice. I don't know. It felt like a nice sort of blend of, like what you were saying earlier, where all of their songs have like this common thread. This one really felt like a common thread. Like
Yeah.
I could point to little stylistic cues on this song, and you could point to like 4 different albums and be like, this fits with all of these, but it doesn't sound like any of those songs.
Yeah.
So like major kudos to them for that. Villains of Circumstance, when this song came on, I was just like, wow, this song just leaves just such a good taste in my mouth. It's like I was aware that there were some things that I would change on the album, but I was just like, this song is so good.
Right.
It's the perfect send off
Yeah.
for the album.
And I know I said last week, I was kind of bored and tired of like fanfare closing songs, but this one, and I was ready, and I was kind of saying that earlier about this one too, but I honestly, like, after listening to it again and again, I have to, like, go back on that statement, just saying, like, this is the right way to do it.
This is the right way to do it. That's exactly what I would say.
Yeah, and one thing I was kind of thinking about earlier, like, because both The Evil Has Landed and Villains of Circumstance would both work really well as album closers. And so I guess, like, if I would try to make one comment saying, pick one of the two and use that as the closer, but someone would go, but then which one would you choose? And I wouldn't be able to tell you. And they flow into each other very well. I think it's The Evil Has Landed has this awesome saxophone part that I absolutely love.
It does. That sax is pretty tight, I gotta say.
Yeah, and like something that's like newish and just not. Yeah, and it's just a big like send off, close out.
But there's nothing about it that feels antiquated or melodramatic. It's like, this makes sense. I see what they were trying to do here. They did it successfully.
Yeah.
And I like it a lot. And I think the other thing I would say too, because you've talked about the lyrics a lot during this review, I do feel like this song, especially, well, both of them, but especially Villains of Circumstance, I really just feel like it ties everything together thematically.
Yes.
You're very aware of what he was trying to get across, I think. When you get to the end of the album, it's like, oh, this makes total sense.
Right, and so even those ones that feel like out of place, it still like reins those in, brings those together.
Yep.
And you hear that too.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Just really quality end to the album. Really made me feel good about the album as well. Those songs really stand up well. So for me, if we're talking favorite tracks, it's got to be those two, and then Head Like a Haunted House. Those would be my 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess if I had to pick 3, I would say.
It's tough.
Yeah,
There's a lot of good ideas.
It's really hard.
Here.
And so in no particular order, I'm going to name Fortress first because I know I definitely like that one a lot. The Evil Has Landed, and I'm going to go with Feet Don't Fail Me Now. It's just like...
It's a good opener.
Yeah, opening tracks just
opener.
really do it for me. A lot of my favorite songs also happen to be opening tracks.
A lot of their best songs are openers.
Yeah.
Feel Good Song of the Year, I think is what
Feel
that
Good
one's
Song
called.
of the Year. Summer. Feel Good Song of the Summer.
Feel Good Song
Hit of the Summer. That's what it is.
That's what it is. Dude, this song,
Oh,
yeah. That's such a good opening song.
And then You think I ain't worth $1, but I
Yeah.
feel like a millionaire.
Yeah, that's a quality one.
Yeah, I always
they've got it on those, and
yeah, I
this
always
song
end up
continues that
pressing
trend.
down the pedal even a little bit harder whenever I listen to that song. Sorry,
I would
Mom,
agree.
if you're listening.
Yeah.
uh,
Shout out parents. I don't know. Yeah, this is a good album. He cut the fat, which was good.
mhm.
There's less to take away here than the Foos album we
Definitely.
reviewed last week, to be sure.
Because remember, some people were reading that were saying that they didn't think there were enough songs on Concrete and Gold. And
I
like,
gotta
don't get me
disagree
wrong.
there.
Yeah, me too. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I would always love more Foo Fighters, but I would rather him, spend more time perfecting like some like a
Their
smaller
album
amount of songs.
their album should be 10 or 11 songs. I don't really think that they need more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think that this album is the correct length. It's the correct length.
And while we were talking about it, we might as well get started on just how it compares to their other discography.
Yeah,
I know you said you like it. You like Clockwork a lot more than this.
I do.
I'm not that big of a fan of Like Clockwork.
Interesting.
Like it, honest, like from the stuff that I've listened to, I think it's one of their weaker albums.
Uh-huh.
Again, like I like it a lot. I did listen to it again today just to make sure I still have that same opinion.
There's a couple of songs on there that are just among my favorites by the band, I would say.
Yeah.
And also, I think one thing that I like about it is, for me, it really pushed the band in the direction that this album is going. It was very important for what this album was going to be, because it was another one that was under 10 tracks and that just had, this experimental quality to it that was and it's not that their other albums weren't experimental, so don't get me wrong on that.
I would just label them all as experimental, to be honest.
Yeah, but I do feel like having sort of the longer cuts and the flying spaghetti monster sticker. It having the longer cuts that were just sort of like these spacey, stony, weird things. It was just great. It was just great. And that album did it, and now this album's doing it. And to be honest with you, I'm just gonna be cool if all of their albums from here sort of follow that formula, because I like a lot of their earlier stuff and I'll listen to it, but I like these albums that are less songs, that have longer songs, that are really sort of experimenting.
Yeah.
And this is an album that's like that, and Like Clockwork is like that. So I would definitely put the two among my favorites in the discography.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that they continue going like that.
Yeah. I have like a slightly different opinion. Just because I like their heavier stuff. That's why I like Songs for the Deaf so much, especially the first couple tracks on that one. I really love Kios. I really like, just those more aggressive songs, 3s and 7s.
Yeah.
Just something that, like, one thing that I like about most of my music is something that I can really like bang my head to, or something that I can just groove along with. And, occasionally jam to when the song's like easy enough to play on guitar. But yeah, it's something that I can like really like rock out to, and I really like. And there's other songs that I like to sit back and just listen to calmly. And there's a lot of songs on here and a lot of songs on Like Clockwork that I can just kind of like. There's like, I guess I have like two modes. There's stuff I like to vibe to, and not to sound like every person.
Not to use the word vibe too much, but you're only using it once, so it's
right.
okay.
It's something that I like. I can either vibe to, or something I can really rock out to.
I hate that vibes was ruined because it was such a good word.
Yeah.
It still is a good word. It's just never used right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I would agree. I like the aggressive sort of punch of some of the older albums, but for me, I guess just where I'm at right now, like these two newest ones are my favorite as we sit.
Okay, yeah.
So-
This is definitely like one of my favorites that they've released. It's like I'd have to probably say this one, Songs for the Deaf, which I mean it just has a special place in my heart because that's the first Queens of the Stone Age album I listened to. And then I'm probably gonna have to say like Rated R.
Rated R
As,
sick.
you know, it
Yeah.
like some people like to say it's overrated, but you know
It's not.
it's just a great one.
It is. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. What are you feeling on ratings?
Ratings?
It's a tough one.
And like I don't want to be that guy that says I don't want to give it a 9 or a 10 just to like
I'll go first. I give it a 7.
okay.
And I like it a lot. But I don't know. My rating is based on how much will I come back to this. And for me, I can say definitively that there are some parts of this that are really cool. And then there are other songs that I know I'm probably not going to listen to too much in the future. But all of the songs that I spoke highly of here, I think they're among the band's best work. So the positive way outweighs the negative. I don't want me saying, oh, it's a 7 in my mind to be. I think that a lot of music reviewers use a very skewed scale. So like a 7, in my opinion, is a really strong album that you like a lot. And yeah, that's what I'm giving it. It's quality. It's quality stuff.
Okay. All right. Taking into consideration some of the stuff that you were saying about your rating, I'm gonna give it settle with an 8.5.
There you go. That feels about right.
Yeah, just because, and that's something, like what you said earlier, like how much you're going to listen to it again, and then something you kind of mentioned last week with Foo Fighters, like if it comes up on your shuffle, are you going to skip this or not?
There's maybe 2 songs here that I'm skipping on shuffle.
Right.
And those are probably just because I find them to be too samey.
And then, so there's like stuff that'll come up on shuffle versus me gonna like come back and listen to it top to bottom. Kyle just yacked on himself, by the way.
No, you hit the brakes, you ass. No, but yeah, in all seriousness, I think that there's I don't know, man. I think that there's 2 songs here that I skip on shuffle. And I think that
this guy's not.
it's because it's an old person.
Oh.
Here in Mexico, we have a huge senior citizen population, and let me just tell you, somebody needs to step in and take the keys from some of these people.
Yeah, I had like 3 opportunities to turn, and I thought they were accelerating out.
It's a joke, but at the same time, it's not a joke.
But yeah, so 8.5 because I'm definitely going to be listening to this a lot.
Definitely,
sometimes
sure.
top to bottom,
Sure.
a lot of times just often on shuffle. A lot of stuff you can come back to. Just got that Queens of the Stone Age feel to it. Yeah, it just massive fan of the song. But yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. We'll see you next time. We'll hear you next time. You'll hear us next time. Oh.